Hello everyone, check out the sloth. Oh my gosh. Welcome everyone, I hope you guys are all excited for another kind of news video for Planet Zoo. My name is Leaf and it's so great to have you guys back over here. This is going to be a combination of two videos. Originally, I had one planned for tomorrow, I guess, but we got the sloth today, so I'm just going to push it all in one video today. But today, in this first part, we're going to talk about this sloth, we're going to talk about what we see in the background, and everything in regards to that. First of all, the sloth looks very good. We probably expect frontier animals to look really good, especially as we get into later on in the DLC cycles. But the three-toed sloth looks beautiful. It really is super adorable. It's super derpy. I think we all kind of wanted that. But of course, we can see that it feels very animated. And that's because it is a walkthrough exhibit animal. Now, I have my own choice opinions on this. That'll come up in a little bit, but we'll get into that very soon. But before we actually do, there is so much to dig apart in this screenshot. If you actually start looking towards like the butt of the sloth, you can see that beautiful brick set pop up again. Really awesome set right there. I can't wait to get my hands on that. And all throughout here, we can actually see glimpses of all the new scenery, which I hope you guys enjoyed that video earlier today. That was a super fun one to put together. But you could see that these beautiful Bali Indonesian temples, whatever you want to call them. If you actually know the style that Planet Zoo is going for, please let me know in the comments down below. But you can see that we have all these beautiful new pieces. Those kind of like shell shapes down at the bottom, those are super beautiful too. I can't wait to use those. But it's just a really solid looking thing. We can also probably talk about that big orange thing that it's hanging on. Yeah, that's definitely gonna be a walkthrough exhibit kind of prefab. And very much like the other items in prefab exhibits and stuff like that. Probably won't be able to change the color out of that. It's just so sad to say. But hopefully we can work with that. Hopefully it's just like smaller. Just a twinge smaller than like the rest of the habitat logs, so maybe we might be able to have opportunity to change that out for different colors by being a little bit smarter with the pieces. Not really sure, but that's really it for news today. And without further ado, let's actually talk about the sloth in general. I don't think the walkthrough exhibit is the best option for the sloth. I'll say it. I do understand some people's feelings about the koala, but let's compare this to a more recent example and kind of piece apart why I think the sloth should be a habitat animal. Welcome everybody, I hope you guys are having the most wonderful of wonderful days. My name is Leaf and it's so great for you guys to join me as we kind of talk about this subject, because I understand some people may like this change, they may like this option for the sloth, but personally I feel like it does a disservice to the sloth. In fact, I have many choice opinions on the sloth that was chosen, but we'll get into that in just a little bit. Now before we actually do get into this, I want to say, let's look at the Siamang. Okay, people didn't really like the Siamang brachiation when it first came out. People thought it was a little jank. People oftentimes thought that the way that the metal beams worked, which by the way, metal beams, not good for Siamang brachiation or any ape brachiation at all. In fact, the metal would heat up so much in the sun that it would actually melt the skin of Siamangs, of gibbons, of any ape for that matter. That's why I'm super happy that Frontier was actually able to implement vine brachiation, as we see in the trailer for the tropical pack. But let's look at that, because that was an issue that was recently resolved with the addition of a new animal. That can be compared directly to the koala. Now, I know people don't like how much the koala spends time on the ground. I personally don't either, because whenever you go to a zoo, I guarantee you will probably never see a koala on the ground. You will more oftentimes than not see them actually climbing, or pretty much as they always are, sleeping in a tree. It's really all they do. However, that's to not disservice that the fact that they actually can have ground mobility, the fact that they can walk around. But I feel like we just don't get that with the sloth. And the sloth, in my opinion, is even more of an offender for being forced to be put in a small exhibit box. Now, let's actually understand what sloths do. Of course, you guys probably already know sloths only come down from the trees to defecate about once a week. That's really all they do. I'm sure they copulate in the trees. I'm sure they piss in the trees. I'm sure they do a whole bunch of other things. But unfortunately, we don't have those copulation and pissing mechanics in the game just yet. However, I still think it's such a sad thought to see that you can't see sloths exploring your big tropical houses. I'm thinking of Malin Zoo. I'm thinking of, like, the one that St. Reginald just did, the Domez house. I'm thinking of all that stuff that your sloths won't be able to explore. In fact, they're going to be restricted to an exhibit box. Now, I personally think that it works okay for the butterflies, that it works out great for the bats, because they don't really need that much. I know in some zoos, like Franklin Park Zoo, for example, they have free-flying bats in the dome, but you could honestly have that effect take place by just using an exhibit box. However, for sloths, this is even more apparent. So I'm going to show a quick little screenshot from the trailer. This kind of shows off what I believe is actually the sloth climbing frame, and it's just not, like, it looks good. Frontier, please. I don't want any Frontier employee to read into this and be like, oh my gosh, Leaf is the worst. He's kind of like dissing on us. This is just from a personal standpoint, because I believe that at the core functionality of this game, freeform is key. Being able to create anything you want and have all of your animals explore it is so incredible to me. The climbing frames, that is great. Just being able to build these big climbing frames where you're using a whole bunch of different materials and seeing your koalas climb them whenever they do. Seeing your monkeys climb them. Seeing your gorillas climb them. Even seeing your cats climb them. It's incredible. I love that so much. It's like one of the best things in the game. And having the koala be restricted to a preset kind of determined pattern or, you know, place points in a habitat or exhibit, really, it's sad. Like, that takes away my favorite aspect of the game, which is creating these diverse environments where one build can look entirely different from the next. And that's what I really have the biggest qualm about the sloth for. Beyond that, really, I think the habitat walkthroughs work just fine. I think they're actually quite cool. Definitely awesome to see, like, these new improvements to what's currently in the game keep on being added. But still, I can't help but feel a little bit sad seeing that one of my favorite types of animals is restricted to a tiny little box. I can only imagine how the tarantula fans feel out there. But moving on from there, I guess my only real other complaint, which I've said this time and time again, but I understand that the three-toed sloth is a very iconic animal. I understand that whenever you type in sloth, Google theory works perfectly well over here. If you look up sloth, you're bound to see these guys. However, I just can't shake the fact that this is Planet Zoo, and we have animals that aren't too commonly represented in zoos. Like, listen, I gave the proboscis monkey a pass. Like, it makes sense. They were kept in the past around the United States. I know the Bronx Zoo used to have them not too long ago, actually. I know some places in Europe were able to keep them for a while. And of course, there's currently three different places in Asia that currently house them. That makes a little bit more precedent over there. Even moving on to, like, the Himalayan brown bear. I'll even defend it a little bit over here. It's in, like, 2 or 3 places all across Asia. I think there's only one place in Europe that has them, so that's kind of interesting. But even the platypus, that is a staple in most Australian zoos, at least the bigger ones. And I'm fine with it not being in captivity in America, because then again, we also got the Twilight Pack, where we got all these common backyard animals to some people that are exotic to other people, and they were actually able to create these, like, their home zoos, because they have these very niche species that are American backyard animals, able to be put in the game. I don't know. Just personally, I feel like the two-toed sloth, whether it would have been a Linnaeus, whether it would have been Hoffman's, would have been such a better pick for this pack in general. And I just feel like it would really speak to the conservation message. That's right, I'm flipping it on you guys this time. It's a real good conservation story to see so many zoos actually breeding all of these two-toed sloths to the point where their population numbers have kind of increased a little bit, and it's just really great to have them. Very iconic for zoos, very iconic for whenever you go to a zoo. I guarantee there is at least one zoo in your area within 2 hours that has one of these things. And that just speaks to how common they are. Oh no. That's just how I feel. Let me know how you guys feel. I know Mr. Rudy Renkamo put out a video defending the walkthrough exhibits. I thought I would kind of be the antithesis of this argument. I feel like I would kind of play that role over here. Just personally, I don't like it too much, but I'm curious to hear what you all have to say. So thank you guys for stopping by. Please don't take this as any negative connotation for the pack. Believe me, I'm going to be modding these guys on the koala rig regardless, so I'm very excited for that. And I will eventually mod in the two-toed sloth. If Frontier won't give it to me, I do it myself. Like, that's kind of how it goes. But thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. I swear I'm not always this kind of negative. I'm oftentimes very positive. So if you guys want some more positivity, check out the other episodes or videos or whatever you want to call them. Thank you guys so much one last time for stopping by. Hope you guys have the most wonderful, wonderful days. And I can't wait to see you all in the next video. Take care and bye-bye.